Welcome to this episode of Teas and Rees. As the name says, we're going to be drinking tea. We're going to be going through some of the books that I've read. If you know me, I'm Albertina, singer-songwriter, but I'm trying to use my YouTube channel more. I'm trying to talk about the things I like. I like singing, yes, I like reading, and I love herbal tea. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So today I'm drinking this hibiscus rose tea. It's really nice. It's really good for your blood pressure, general health. The only thing is it's a bit strong. Like the fennel's strong, but maybe I don't like fennel. Either way, grab a snack, grab a drink, and we're gonna break down this lovely, lovely book. Like it actually has changed my perspective of life. And I'm not even exaggerating. What you're looking for is in the library. So yeah, you're following all these different characters in their short stories dealing with these internal conflicts, to be honest. And what's really, really fun about the book is like you really see how their problems their problems don't get solved, but their perspectives and attitudes towards those problems get solved and changed and reframed, and it's really beautiful to read about it. So the pacing is really good. Like it's really quick. The stories don't feel too long, too short. So if you're getting back into reading like I was, a book like this is really good. Easy to follow, nothing, no crazy metaphors or anything like that. So now I really want to get into some of the quotes that have really reshaped my mind, which has changed my life. And you're gonna find like they're not groundbreaking quotes, but yeah, you'll see. So the first quote I want to go through, a bit of a chunky one, but singles are envious of those who are married, and married couples envy those with children. But people with children are envious of singles. It's an endless merry-go-round. But isn't that funny? That each person should be chasing the tail of the person in front of them when no one is coming first or last. In other words, when it comes to happiness, nothing is better or worse. There is no definitive state. The first reason why I like this quote is the bit that says, there is no definitive state. There is no definitive state. This is exactly how I've been feeling, and it summarizes how I felt for a while, right? Happiness is not like, it's fleeting. I would say joy is separate. Joy is a bit more tangible and it needs to be rooted in something. But happiness, there's no definitive state. Sometimes we feel happy, sometimes we're not happy. Sometimes there's things we don't know, and because of our ignorance and that being bliss, we feel happy, right? So I love the definitive state. Sometimes we give our feelings so much influence to the point where our feelings are defining the reality we experience right now. And if you think I'm being dramatic, like even the way we say I feel sad versus I am sad, I feel tired, I am tired, like what you say holds so much importance. And it's funny that even our language, we give feelings so much weight. Most people are more likely to say I am tired, I am sad, versus saying I am confident. But actually you're using that phrase to describe a feeling, not your being. So why do we say I am this and I am that? Like we ascribe so much kind of negative feelings onto our reality, and it's kind of ingrained in who we are, when actually, again, going back to happiness, I feel happy, I am happy. Can you be happy? Like there is no definitive state, so it's a feeling, and we should embrace that feeling. It's a fantastic feeling, but it is a feeling, and it's okay if it's up and down and not definitive. And the second bit, going back to the topic that the character's talking about, so relationships, singles, married, those with children, like me personally, I'm on a journey with God about contentment and about like the topic of relationships, right? Because there was a point where I was like, okay, I'm content with the fact that I'm not dating right now. Cool. But then when I thought I had reached peak contentment, yes, I'm happy, fantastically happy. Now I'm thinking like, am I content with the fact that, you know, I might not get married? Am I content with the fact that I may have like beautiful romantic relationships, but I might not have one lifelong partner? Oh, that hurts a bit more, right? So it's just teaching me more and more that like, even when you're as the quote's saying, you're in this kind of cycle, kind of circle. Even when you're here, like you're close to what feels like the top, yeah, you've reached the level of contentment, you're gonna find this whole cycle repeats again, because there's something else. There's something else that you can chase. There's something else that your peers or your friends or your enemies are doing that's gonna catch your eye. Like this constant cycle of singles, marriage, those with children, blah blah blah. Some of them have time, but those that don't have time have the things that someone else wants. Like it is a mind game, and we need to stop getting caught up in it. So moving on to the second quote, shorter quote. You may say that it was the book, but it's how you read the book that is most valuable, rather than any power it might have itself. Listen, this quote, if you're not careful, go over your head. Like, this quote is serious. I think a really important quote. I think this quote can also be applied to life. Like, a lot of people say you only get out what you put in, and it's true, and we should use that a lot more. But sometimes we only think of the level of input or the level of output. So it's not just the level or the volume of input that is important. It's also the way you go about things, how you go about things, how you read the book. So I'll give an example. Let's say like you're doing a master's degree, 1 year intense. I haven't done it myself, but I've heard it's intense, yeah. And you put a lot in, but what you put in is unhealthy in that you're working extreme hours, you don't sleep well, you don't socialize with any of your friends. In fact, you kind of are bitter and resent the masters. You don't even enjoy it as much. You're just doing it just to get through it, yeah. That emotion that you put in to that process, you're also going to reap that reward. When you finish that masters, even if you've passed and done a good job, it will always only feel like a tick box exercise, or it's gonna just feel like, oh, thank God it's done, it's over. You're never gonna have that joy of completing that masters, because what you put in wasn't joy. It was intensity, sacrifice, yes, but you're kind of just surviving. You're kind of just trying to get through it. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes we need to reflect on how we approach life, the same way as saying how you approach a book, right? What are we putting in? Not just input, not just how much time am I dedicating to my goals, how much am I saving, but what is the heart behind what you're doing? How are you doing these things? How are you amassing that input, right? The third and the final quote that I'm going to go through, it's not really one quote. You're going to have to read the book to understand, but it's essentially one of the ideas that one of the characters has in their short story. So humans only see what suits them most and make that their main focus, but for plants, both are main. My mind jumps to the article about parallel careers where each job is complementary, neither is secondary. Plants have work to do above and below ground, and their work in one area complements the other. Suddenly, I feel braver. There is no main job and secondary job. Both are equally important. That could be true for a couple too. So in the context of the story, like you hear about the couple, but that point about work, like, as we know, in general, a lot of us are working jobs that are maybe 9 to 5, maybe jobs we didn't see ourselves doing when we were younger, when we were a child, and maybe jobs that we don't see us getting the most fulfillment out of, which is not a problem. Make your money. But the point is, sometimes we have to establish that work is a thing in life. Like, we as humans, we have to work. We get bored, we lose purpose when we are not doing something. But work doesn't need to look like the typical Western 9 to 5 that we've kind of grown up learning. There can be like work, your day-to-day work, and there's your life's work. And in my opinion, like, your life's work is like, when I'm gone, those that don't know me personally, those that may hear about me and find out about me, what do I want them to be left with? So that can be a lot of things, right? That you might say, I want to be such a good like childcare or childminder that You know, the children that I take care of and grow up, they may not remember my name, but they remember that someone who's me helped them to read, encouraged them, gave them confidence, and now they feel like they can mentor others and give others confidence. That might be your life's work. Your life's work, if this is your belief, might just to be to fully enjoy and immerse yourself in all of the fun things that life has to offer. Fine, like, but I think sometimes we get so caught up in day-to-day work that we don't realize we have a whole life's work to consider. And if at any point that day-to-day work is conflicting, is really stopping us from doing any of our life's work, we need to consider whether it's a good job. But on the flip side, in my belief, I don't think people need to find 100% of fulfillment in their jobs. Like, I think that's absolutely fine as long as work fits into your life and helps you do your life's work. Like, if you're a parent and at the moment, like, your life's work is raising your kids, whatever job you need to find that pays the bills, that's the job you'll find. But sometimes we only consider that when it comes to marriage and children. Even if you're single, it's okay for you to have a job that, you know, at the end of the day, it's there to pay the bills. That's cool, but make sure as much money as you can is going into yourself, your health, and your life's work. Don't just be in this constant cycle and loop of working, spending money on pleasure and useless things, and working again. That's not the point. So thanks for watching my little summary of this book. I really hope that it encourages you to read this book or just to get back into reading in general. I've already lent it to a friend and I hope I can lend it to more friends as well. So make sure you listen to the music on my channel. Make sure you watch all the other videos. Until the next one.